this video is about the OP900, how none of the buttons work, it's not turning on. And this typically happens, maybe I had it for 2 weeks, 2 months, 6 months, but it just doesn't turn on. And I noticed that, at least in this one, when plugged in, the battery light accepts charge. So I'll show you that in a second. You can see I have the A model, but it's similar for the B. When I plug in, I see the light turn red or maybe green. So it's accepting the charge, but it still won't turn on. So this issue might actually be with the keypad itself, these physical buttons. So what we're going to do is actually disconnect it from power and turn it over and remove all the screws. So I remove a lot of the screws. It's just these last two. They're like thumb screws, so you can be able to just with your hand. If not, you can always get a flathead. Okay, so put it down like this and lift up, and be careful. I have the back. You see the hump? But if you have flat back, maybe you don't have the battery, so just be careful, because you'll see there is the red and black cables that go in between the two, and that's for the battery. See the connections here. I have it here. So if you notice this tan cable here, what we're going to do is actually check the keypad itself. So what we're trying to do is actually turn it on. So what we're going to do is actually, grab this end, and we're going to lift from the black tip. We're going to hold from the bottom, and we're trying to lift upwards. Don't lift side to side, but lift upward. And we disconnected it. You see all these pins here. So what we're going to do is get that same screwdriver again. And what we're going to do, just to make sure that it's actually receiving power, maybe the battery's dead and that's the issue, I'm actually going to plug in to power here. Right, I see the red light in there. Okay, so you see I was plugged into AC power. So now I'm going to hold it against, put my screwdriver against the bottom two pins, because these bottom two pins are for power. So what we're trying to do is actually turn it on without the keypad itself. This tan cable's the keypad. So you gotta hold it against it for 3 seconds, and you should hear a beep. So 2, 3. Hear it? And you saw my actual indicator actually turned on. See, annoying beeping sound. So let's turn it off. And as we turn it on and off. So that's what this cable does. It just shorts the two pins corresponding to what button it is. So the bottom two ones are for power. So I figured out that this one is my board. Anything for 900A, 900B, it could be MS, SS, SL. It should all be the same. If you have a 901, that's different, but at least for the 900, T900 or OP900, short the two pins and it turns on. Sometimes some people don't hold it down long enough, so maybe 2 or 3 seconds and it's turned on. Make sure to plug into AC power, because maybe the battery is just dead and it's not turning on. So you want to make sure connected and figure out my keypad is bad. So what do? Well, order a new one through us, and especially within the 1-year warranty. You can get a new keypad through us, and I'll show you how to replace it now. Okay, so you're here, and I do have a separate video on how to replace the keypad, but I'll just show you very quickly. This is actually a sticker. So you could get a flathead screwdriver and actually peel, and just peel. Okay, and then wiggle it out. Okay, so now that's some bad keypad. You don't have to clean out the residue, but just peel it back, just overlay. And don't forget to include this part, because you want to see the red if it's a 900A, or it's clear if it's 900B. But either way, you want to make sure it's all taken off. It's always tricky getting it off from here. Yeah. Tricky. Okay. So be careful not to stick this in here. And you're gonna feed it through here. Make sure your connector goes around. So it's going that way. I'm gonna feed all the way through. line it up. Okay, so I'm setting it down. You see, make sure that the cable went through here. So make sure you line up all the pins. Make sure not to bend it left or right. Push down. And let's test it out. Connect it back to my AC power, my DC power cord. So plugging it in. Light turns on, it's good. And let's test the new keypad. That seems good. And that was my issue. If it didn't turn on, you hold it multiple seconds, you plugged it into power, still nothing, turns off. And let's say you don't see a battery light, or the problem is it just doesn't turn on even if you press those two pins, then most likely it could be fried. The board is dead. So it could be an issue where this PCB board has to be replaced. And I have a separate video on how to replace PCB boards, but for now, that fixed my issue. You can now close it back up, and I have working 900 indicator.